Greetings, my friend. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unreviewable. That is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing you the Film Trigger review of Ed Wood. We are giving you all the evidence based only on the critical testimony of the miserable soul who survived this remarkable film. My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer. Can your heart stand the shocking facts in a true review of Ed Wood?
Hello friends, my name is Stevie Cade and welcome to Film Trigger. And not only are we doing a new video today, but this is also our 400th upload. That's right, 400 uploads, and maybe 200 of them are good, hopefully. What better way to kick off our 400th upload than with my favorite movie of all time? That's right, my favorite movie of all time is very askew, but you know what? We'll talk more about that in just a minute. Before we do, if you could, hit that like, thumbs up button, that subscribe button, and the little bell ding thing so you get notified every time I upload a new video. That's right, the little bell ding thing so you get notified every time I upload a new video. I seem to have to keep trying to explain this to people, and they always seem shocked every time. Without further ado, let's dive into my review for Ed Wood. That's right, Ed Wood is my favorite movie of all time. And why is it my favorite movie of all time? Well, this movie came about in my life at the perfect time, where a lot of my life was kind of mirroring what was happening to Ed Wood in the time period they decided to show his life in this movie. It has resonated with me ever since, and I cannot wait to talk about this. So let's not hold this train up any longer. Let's talk about what I like about this movie. Number one, the overall 50s horror style that Tim Burton decided to use while filming this movie. I thought that was a beautiful idea. It's shot in black and white. It's shot like an old Twilight Zone episode or some of your old supernatural thrillers. And I love this concept because it not only does it pay respect to Ed Wood himself, but it pays respect to this style of filmmaking, and it's an overall love letter to this era of cinema.
For the rest of the day, whenever anyone says a secret word, scream real loud!
Which, if you know my channel, you know that I am a huge fan of this era of cinema. Hence, my Bela Lugosi and vampire t-shirt. I have a Bela Lugosi doll, or action figure. See that? That's a Bela Lugosi doll. Action figure, damn it. It is everything that makes me love movies. And it really immerses you into the stylings of Ed Wood. Like, this is how he would make his own biopic, I believe.
That's ridiculous.
And choosing to do it in this style would be like choosing to do a biopic about Wes Craven in the 80s slasher style of movies, which, by the way, it's not a bad idea. Somebody should jump on that, like, now. It was my idea. You heard it here first. Which brings me to the story. Yes, the story of Ed Wood, the worst director of all time.
That cardboard headstone tipped over. This graveyard is obviously phony.
Nobody will ever notice that. Filmmaking is not about the tiny details. It's about the big picture.
The big picture?
Yes.
And this story is brought to you by, well, Tim Burton, number one, being the director, but number two, the writers of Problem Child. Yes, the writers of Problem Child wrote this beautiful piece of cinema. That makes me want to go back and rewatch Problem Child. I'm not going to lie. I love this story. I relate to this story. I relate to Ed Wood.
I like to dress in women's clothing.
Not necessarily like that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not at all.
Really his blind optimism of how he takes on filmmaking and moving forward. Doesn't let anything get him down, even though he feels like he's past his prime already, even though he's only 30 years old. That's when this movie came to my life. I felt like I was failing at certain things, and I thought maybe I'd already crossed the threshold of being successful because that's what life told me I was at the age of 30, and Ed Wood felt the same way, but watching him move forward has really helped me a lot when it comes to just keeping on. Keep doing what you love because you love it. That's why I find this story of Ed Wood just overall uplifting.
Really? Worst film you ever saw? Well, my next one will be better. Hello?
It gives me hope. Hell, Film Trigger might be the worst YouTube channel you've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
And coupled with this beautiful story of Ed Wood, almost a beautifully tragic ending to Bela Lugosi. Because this movie is almost two biopics into one. You got the Ed Wood biopic, and then you have the last few years of Bela Lugosi's life, and Bela Lugosi being like the OG of monster movies. He's the one that plays the original Dracula, and I'm not talking about Nosferatu, the silent film, but like when films started having sound and actual people talking, Bela Lugosi was there. And his rendition of Dracula still sticks around. Anytime you see a depiction of Dracula, 80% of the time, it's a rendition of Bela Lugosi's Dracula. Even the accent that he had as Dracula was his actual Hungarian accent. So, like, that was just who he is, and now that's what we know as the Transylvania accent.
I am Dracula. I bid you welcome.
So yes, Bela Lugosi is very deep-seated into the mythology of Hollywood, and for this reason. And the reason why I enjoy that they focused on Bela Lugosi in his last few years is because the guy was a box office hit and then was cast out of Hollywood for basically kind of being washed up and then eventually becoming a drug addict. But the movie doesn't focus on that. It doesn't glorify his addiction and his lifestyle. It actually celebrates his ability to overcome these addictions even at an older age in his 70s. Hollywood loves a good comeback story, and Bela Lugosi was one of those first comeback stories. As a matter of fact, he was the first actor to ever be known to put himself into rehab and then come out the other side clean. So kudos to him. He is like the original rock star of cinema. That's one of the many reasons why I love Bela Lugosi, and one of the many reasons why I love this movie, because they depicted that side of him. And the relationship between Bela Lugosi and Ed Wood is really celebrated here as well.
I met Bela Lugosi.
Well, I thought he was dead.
No, he's very much alive. Well, sort of.
It was a give and take. They needed each other. They didn't know they needed each other, but they helped each other through. They became better people because of it. They respected each other, and Bela Lugosi didn't die all alone as a drug addict. And I think that's a beautiful tale, and just, again, one of the many things I love about this film.
You're not a real vampire. Those teeth don't frighten me.
How about these?
And who better to bring this performance on the screen of Bela Lugosi than Martin Landau? Yes, a guy that no other way would I ever expect him to actually pull this off. This guy has no business being this good in this role, and he won an Oscar for it. And it's amazing he did so, because he looks nothing like Bela Lugosi. But through some heavy makeup, a few prosthetics, a wig, and his incredible performance with his incredible accent, and that definitely gives this movie great credentials when it comes to the quality of actors that they put in this movie. If you listen to Martin Landau and Bela Lugosi together, like side by side, it's almost uncanny. Because Martin Landau didn't just do a Hungarian accent. He did a Hungarian accent trying to hide his accent, because that's what Bela Lugosi would do.
Karloff? Sidekick? Fuck you! Karloff does not deserve to smell my shit!
So you get to see multiple levels of Bela Lugosi through Martin Landau's performance. And this guy, once again, rock star, man. I'm so glad that he pulled this off, and he did it so well, especially with as many things as he had going against him. So not only does it portray so well on screen, but he was also honored for that as well. And this movie deserves a lot more credit than it gets. I'm surprised more people don't know about this movie, and the people that do know about it kind of heard about it, but they've never seen it. Well, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't seen it, why are you watching this spoiler review? Number one. Number two, if you don't care about spoilers, then just go watch the movie after you're done with this if you haven't seen it yet. And speaking of amazing actors, man, Johnny Depp, right there. This is one of Johnny Depp's best performances. It's right up there with Jack Sparrow, Gilbert Grape, and of course, Hunter S. Thompson. These are the types of roles Johnny Depp does so well. When Johnny Depp does that, that's when he's on his best. Black Mass would be another great example of this. And I really think Johnny Depp should stick to that realm. But that's for a conversation for a completely different video moving down the road. But besides Johnny Depp and his classically handsome self, I can't really tell he's in this movie. I see Johnny Depp, but I'm not watching Johnny Depp. I'm watching Ed Wood. That's how well he immerses himself in this role. Even though he has no prosthetics, very light makeup, and he just looks like Johnny Depp, I don't look at him as Johnny Depp.
This is the one. This is the one I'll be remembered for.
And even Dolores Fuller, Ed Wood's ex-girlfriend, who is portrayed in this movie by Sarah Jessica Parker.
Do I really have a face like a horse?
She even praised Johnny Depp for his depiction of Ed Wood, saying that he captured Ed Wood almost perfectly. Then Dolores Fuller went on to completely slam Sarah Jessica Parker for her lack of depiction of Dolores. So I'm not going to throw shade at Sarah Jessica Parker because I think she did good for what the movie was trying to accomplish. But at the same time, it must be noted that Dolores Fuller, the woman that she was trying to play, did not like her performance because she didn't ask Dolores for any tips. She didn't study her. She just kind of did her own thing. But I think she did pretty well in the movie, so I'm not going to give her shit about that. I'll leave that up to Dolores, which she already did. You can actually watch a video right now of it. It's on YouTube.
Sarah Jessica Parker smoked all the time, and I never would smoke. And she didn't contact me. Here she's playing my life, and she didn't bother to do any research. I met her at the press party after the Ed Wood movie, and she said, I just got through telling everybody that I just played the part of the worst actress in the history of film. That wasn't nice. It wasn't professional. She didn't know me, you know. It hurt.
And honestly, the whole cast just did absolutely wonderful. They not only captured the essence of the timeline that they're in this movie, but they did so in a slight satire sort of way. It's not a documentary. They obviously changed things around a little bit. They took the situation and added that 50s style horror movie magic to it, and the cast really understood what their job was, and they executed it perfectly. And a special shout out to Vincent D'Onofrio. That's right, Vincent D'Onofrio is in this movie, and I didn't know it at first. I wouldn't have known it if his name wasn't at the opening credits. And even though I saw his name at the opening credits, I didn't quite know where he was. I kind of forgot he was in the movie. But once you watch it a few times, he plays Orson Welles, and he does it so beautifully. Go watch his performance as Orson Welles and tell me, would you have known that was Vincent D'Onofrio?
You never know who's a windbag and who's got the goods. I'm supposed to do a thriller at Universal, but they want Charlton Heston to play a Mexican.
Because I know it's Vincent D'Onofrio now, but I still can't see him. I just see Orson Welles. God, the actors they hired for this movie are just, oh man, they were perfect. Well done, Tim Burton. Good casting, man. The cinematography in this movie is absolutely beautiful, and it couples with the acting. They were definitely on the same page when it came to what they wanted to put onto screen. Stefan Kazapski, I don't know how to say his last name. He's the cinematographer, and we'll just call him Stefan for the sake of me, so I don't stumble over it every time. There are so many elements that Stefan put into this, so many elements that were inspired by the 50s style horror genre. Only the movies like Dracula, The Bat, The Invisible Ghost. There's also some nice Twilight Zone flair in there. Not the main scenes of the movie, but the in-between stuff. It's shot in a very Twilight Zone stylistic way, and again, that's my world. I used to fall asleep to the Twilight Zone all the time, and that's not an insult to Twilight Zone. That's how much I just love the show, and this movie just depicts that perfectly with the cinematography. Again, the cinematography is a love letter to this genre of filmmaking.
Good screaming, everybody.
The score, my God, the score is absolutely beautiful in this, and of course it is. It's done by Howard Shore. Well, Stevie, who's Howard Shore? Oh, if you don't know that name, let me give you some of his credentials. All of the Lord of the Rings movies, all of the Hobbit movies. He did The Fly, Silence of the Lambs, Seven, and that's just to name a few. Thank God they had him in this movie because he did his homework. He took everything that was great about this movie, put it in a box, and wrapped it in a beautiful bow of the score. And one of the main unique instruments used in the score is the theremin. It's an instrument that's supposed to match human vocals, but comes out in a very eerie light.
This is a theremin. It's an electronic musical instrument, and it's played by moving one's hands through the air. As you can see, one can control changes in pitch with the right hand and changes in volume with the left hand.
They even got the niece of the man who created the theremin himself, Mr. Theremin. I know it was his last name. I can't remember his first name. I had it written on my notes, but I don't know where those went. And she trained under him. If there ever was a most qualified person to use a theremin in an orchestra, it would definitely be her. And they jumped through hoops to get her to do this movie. As a matter of fact, she was in Russia and had like a Russian passport, and they had a hard time getting her over to the studio because of this. But through determination and hard work, they finally got her over here, and she just did a wonderful job. The music to this movie is absolutely beautiful. Again, it just goes with the cinematography. It goes with the acting. Everything just meshed so well. It was a perfect storm of a movie. But there were a couple of missteps along the way, and that's what's going to bring me into what I'm on the fence about when it comes to this movie. And I believe one of those missteps comes down to the makeup. The makeup coupled with the lighting in certain scenes just quite doesn't work because you see some of the fallibilities in the makeup. There's one scene in particular where Martin Landau, he's being shot at like a Dutch angle, being lit from underneath, and you can kind of see the line on his forehead where his wig begins and ends. Now, I think this might be a messed up, but I would also believe that maybe they did this on purpose because sometimes that lower quality of filmmaking is how they shot these things back in the day, or they're just depending on the low definition that movies like this were filmed at the time. But now that everything's moving to HD and 4K, you can really see those makeup mistakes, if you will. Another movie that does the same thing that is a beautiful movie is Hook. Watching Hook in HD, you see kind of the same thing happen. So that's what I think went on here. Another thing I'm on the fence about when it comes to this movie is actually Bill Murray. Listen, I like Bill Murray. I like seeing Bill Murray in this movie. It's a passion project for him. He's not in a leading role. You can tell he probably took the role because, number one, he loved the story, but number two, he was a background character. And I think this was a part of his career where he just kind of wanted to step out of the limelight, which is fine. I 100% respect that. The problem that I have when he's him playing Bunny Breckenridge, I can't get past it. I can't get past that I'm watching Bill Murray. Unlike Johnny Depp, where I see Johnny Depp, but I feel like I'm watching Ed Wood, I don't get that with Bill Murray. I see Bill Murray acting like Bunny, but I don't fully immerse myself into thinking that he is Bunny just because I can't get past the Bill Murray of it. He was almost too big of a star, which might be a bad way to explain it. I guess his performance was a little low-key. Maybe Bill Murray's not quite in the realm of method acting, and this movie kind of shines a light on that vulnerability that he has.
I'm getting my first series of hormone injections. When those girls kick in, they're going to take out my organs and make me a woman. Goodbye, penis.
Again, I don't mind him being in the movie. I enjoy seeing Bill Murray. I'm glad he's a part of this movie. But if I'm critiquing this movie, I'm going to be honest. He's the one that stands out like a sore thumb the most. And another thing I'm on the fence about when it comes to this film, and I almost put this on what I don't like about this movie, but I really had to backtrack myself. And that's the changing of the timelines. Listen, I know when you do biopics or biographies and stuff like that, when you put them in the film, you have to rearrange things for dramatic purposes so it's more entertaining to the audience. But there are straight up just people that existed during this time that were a big part of the story that aren't even in this movie at all. Going back to Dolores Fuller, she had kids when she was with Ed Wood. I don't think they were Ed Wood's kids, but she had kids and they lived together and they were a big part of that whole family. But those kids are nowhere to be found in this movie. There are a lot of pieces that are picking up, put over here, or picked up here and put back there. Again, for dramatic purposes, but as a fan, when I watched this movie, I really enjoyed it so much when I started doing my research and diving into the actualities that happened during this time. You learn that things are mixed up quite a bit. But I decided not to put this on what I don't like because I'm not critiquing this movie for its accuracy. I love the movie as it is, but now knowing how much they actually messed with the timeline of things, it does bother me a little bit, and I kind of wish they would have stuck more true to the timeline that they're trying to portray here. But it is what it is. Welcome to the world of biopics based on a true story. Right. Sure thing, Hollywood. And when it comes to things I don't like about this film, listen, I've only done this 2 times before. This will be the 3rd time I've done it. But I really don't have anything I don't like about this movie. And that's mostly because I'm biased. That's because I love this movie so much. I sat and racked my brain for at least 15 minutes out there. Come on, Steve, critique this movie. What don't you like about it? What could they have changed? And anything I thought of just fell into what I'm on the fence about. And that's okay. We're allowed to have those types of movies sometimes. And this movie just lands for me. And for all these reasons, I'm giving this movie an A+.
That was wonderful. Bravo. I loved that. Oh, it was great.
There you have it, guys. There's my review for Ed Wood, my favorite movie of all time. A movie I relate to on multiple levels, and a movie that helped me out in a tough time when I needed it. Inspired me when I needed inspired the most. But not only that, it's wrapped up in that supernatural thriller vibe that I also love from that era of filmmaking. And yeah, it's just a perfect storm for what I want. Let me know, do you love this movie? Do you hate this movie? What are your problems with this movie? Maybe you can bring some things to light for me. Let me know in the comments below what you do or do not like about this film. Also, be sure to check out some more of my videos. And as always, stay trigger happy, my friends. Peace.
Home. I have no home. Haunted. Despised. living like an animal. The jungle is my home.